So as it turns out, Sseth uploaded a video 9 days ago, and I completely missed it. And Sseth's Zintac video is a rare commodity that we must enjoy. So I guess sit back, relax, and if you're on YouTube, haha, surprise Sseth video, and if you're here live in Twitch, let us be blessed with the absolute chaoticness and gremlin nature of this individual, and see how quick it takes for this video to become demonetized. I mean, at least this video isn't about interspecies reviewers, I guess. I mean, maybe we can hope this video won't be demonetized. So in 3, and a 2, and a 1, and the first frame is filling me with dread already.
Domain expansion, Immaculate Crack Rock. Domain expansion,
yes.
Homeless Fist. Hey, disciples. Sseth here. Let me tell you about a game that's transfixed and captivated me for the past many days.
Well, this looks quaint.
Matchless Kungfu is an immersive sim that shows what life would be like if every man, woman, and child was trained in the martial arts. That is.
See, Sseth, you missed a great opportunity to capitalize on Chinese communism. I'm just saying there, my guy. Your joke game is falling off.
Is to say, life would not last very long. This game takes place in the genre of wuxia. This is Chinese sword fantasy fiction, but a little more grounded than some I've covered in the past. The game works like this. You play a world simulation where everyone has their own desires and motivations.
I really know what this game is about.
Putting down plots of land. These are pre-made areas containing a challenge. If you finish
Everyone loves world builder.
you can place more land, and you keep going until, inevitably,
Yo, Armia, thanks for the follow.
breaks your spine. You're not expected to win from the first or second try. The actions you took in a past life will influence the next through karma, and you're not.
Isn't this like that game Shifu? Whatever it was called. Wasn't there a game that came out like this was like a beat 'em up kind of thing? Huh. Sifu, yeah, that's the one. Either way, this is an interesting concept.
Expected to understand any of this. That's why I don't
We
have to
are
explain to you why I
a minute in and there hasn't been an obscene racial comment or something incredibly unhinged. I'm incredibly concerned.
Explain to you this incredibly elaborate system of rock.
Is he fighting a horse? Is he fighting a... Okay, we need to play this game. We need to play this game. We need to play this game.
Scissors that is combat because the tutorial went over my head, but I've retained the knowledge non-verbally. And finally, despite being at the
that's a giant dragon.
A complete demigod with perfectly harmonized meridians, I can.
Okay, this game looks like just enough levels of batshittery that I could probably play it and enjoy it.
Product of RNG, my first Chinaman turned out looking okay. My very first quest was to beat the shit out of wine-stealing monkeys, only to find out animals can be
I'd beat the shit out of anything that stole my wine.
But for the monkey, this was begging. The monkey can beg for money, which.
Armid Stars in my chat just said, Sseth took just enough meds to get some Mandalore in his videos. You know what, Arnie? You're absolutely right. This is almost on the level of an actual game review, rather than Seth's normal batshittery, completely unsensitized bollocks. And I'm not really complaining because this game's weird and wild and kind of funky. I kind of giggle at his stupidity, but you know, when you watch a Sseth video, you kind of go in with the expectation that you're going to get demonetized within the first 30 seconds.
Infuriates the local beggar as I'm taking away from his local business. In this game, beggar is a profession, and just like doctors operate clinics, beggars operate churches.
Are you sure you didn't mistake that for being the average Brit?
Then I got a quest to deal with some bandits. No problem, I thought, until I saw they were 2 women who could kill just by breathing on me. Luckily, my objective wasn't to defeat them, just burn down their camp. This was very easy because they took several naps while I was doing so, only stopping when I burnt down their mattress. So
yes, the best way of killing women.
As it turns out, one of the bandits had the charitable perk, which meant that she would rob the local store, beat up the owner, and donate all her savings.
Dude, this game is so weird.
I made a lot of money from the bandit monkey pipeline, and I found the constant brawls to be very entertaining, until it wasn't, and the store owner was dead on the floor.
This entire game just feels like a kid got hold of a storybook and was like, and then the monkey went and punched the man, and then the man punched the monkey, and then a woman came along and she was very angry, and then she killed the man, and then she went on a voyage, and then somebody came along and broke their village down, and then.
Realized I had to do something, or I was going to lose a lot
So that
more
German
NPCs.
Shepherd-
I lured
Didn't know
the two
German
bandits
Shepherds
into
were
a
endemic to
non-lethal
China.
sparring competition, broke their strength, quickly rested, and jumped them again before they could recover. This bumped up my reputation, and I was offered a selection of different schools of martial arts. Naturally, I chose to join
Wait, this
the
game has
drunken sect.
mechanics?
Not only did I get a bunch of skills that are simple enough that even I can reliably combo, I also got informed that I had a secret admirer. Who, may I ask? Well, the person telling me. And just like that, I had a significant other. She sleeps on the floor. Sorry, honey. The bed is reserved for me and the monkey as we lay together and pick lice
Hey,
out of each
listen,
other's
listen.
hair.
What happens in China stays in China. The hierarchy goes me, the monkey, the dirt that me and the monkey sleep on, and then you, baby. Just so you know.
Our bond strengthens. Following cultivation tropes, you can attend auctions to bid on rare and expensive items. Every time someone makes a bid for an item or increases their bid, the other guests become more jealous. If you let this play out in the background in its entirety, everyone who went to the auction is now seething with hatred and will try to kill every other attendee. In this game, you don't get stronger from fighting. You get
Are you
stronger
fighting
by
the
connecting
dog?
shapes in the right order to activate
Dude, that dog knows Kung Fu.
inner kung fu. In my case, however, I got alcohol immunity. I didn't understand the value of this until I sat down for a drink and saw a small option to make a toast. I could forcibly drink someone under the table, and when they're passed out, I could kidnap their body and rob them blind, which is exactly what I did for the next hour.
Dude, what the fuck
everyone was
happened? I
running
had
around
one
in
swig of
sub-zero
friggin'
temperatures
Sprite and I'm
in
friggin'
boxer
out of it,
shorts.
man.
Putting down enough normal plots lets you place special plots such
Oh
as
no,
towns.
absolutely.
Soon
Like
as I
the
entered,
entire
two men
like
started
this is
bickering because one
why
had
we
slept
love
with
Seth
the other's
videos.
wife. I intervened
The
against
games that he
infidelity,
plays are
but
the
a
shit
little too
nobody
strongly
else in the
because
world
you are
plays.
now
We get
dead.
to have
I
a
sat down
brief
at the bar to
glimpse into the
continue my
batshit
drunken
world
robbery
of
when
nonsensical
the same
games.
woman who committed adultery
And
tried to
somehow,
seduce me,
with as
honoring
batshit as Seth is, the filter of Seth's crippling neurodiverse brain makes the game seem understandable. You combine a batshit game with a batshit mindset, and all of a sudden they mash together and spit out something that you can tangibly and quantifiably say is understandable.
my beloved. I rejected her advances, so she threatened to kill me if I said no. And she
Okay.
did, because she's
Ace.
got 12k vigor. So I reloaded and tried to beg for forgiveness. Instead, she let me off lightly by breaking
What
my
a
legs.
beta.
The irony
What
of
a
the
beta
situation
male,
is that she
having to
owned
beg
the
the
town
woman.
clinic and would help treat my crippling disability the next day. I lived a good life. I trained hard. And despite that, I am surrounded by sociopaths that could kill me on a whim. I hate this place. I'm gonna go parkour across
Average,
water. Going far north
average
on the map
old
is
day
how you
China.
get captured and imprisoned. This is not a bad thing. This is how you unlock your second and third character slots. As said before, you're not meant to win on the first try. Or rather, you're not the main character. The protagonist of this story.
Man, ain't that a fucking mood? Why was that an entire metaphor for my life? Man, I ain't even the main character in my own existence, let alone in a video game. Why is this gotta be so personal, man?
Is your ancestors. Quick briefing on power levels. Everything is about vigor, which is how much punishment you can take. No matter how good you are at finessing the combat and exploiting meridians,
Okay, give it
your
as well as you
starting
take.
character's vigor
Motto of
will
my
cap
life.
off at around 2k. So for reference, at your absolute peak, you are half as strong as a giant toad. How do we remedy this? Genetics. Much like a trailer park is much more of a gene pond than a gene pool, your choice of partner has consequences on your child's pedigree. You need to choose the right Chinaman or
Okay.
China woman to
So we're
integrate
putting
into your
eugenics
lineage.
into this.
If
That's
you're the
that's
offspring of
great.
a
Thanks,
sect
Seth.
leader, you're born with 2k extra vigor. That's nice, but we need to go even harder. There are many myths, many legends.
You want Seth, this is how we come into a dystopian future of xenophobia. And I'm not about this. I feel very oh boy, yeah, no, that's ooh, okay.
In high school,
I don't
we
think this
used
game
to
is encouraging
nipple
healthy
cripple each other.
mindsets.
If you're not familiar, that's where you grab both nipples and twist painfully, usually in the changing room when they're most vulnerable. Until one of our friends told us that's how a kid got nipple cancer, because he got nipple crippled too often and it became a tumor. We knew the story was bullshit,
What?
but we were scared, and we never did it again. Similarly, I heard tales of people hitting 30k vigor, and I think I know how. Some call it intuition.
That's
I call
just
it reading a guide on
gaslighting.
Steam. Karma are
Next thing you're gonna tell me, when my parents told me that if I kept touching myself, it would fall off. Next thing you're gonna tell me that was also a lie. My God.
complete during life that allow you to take different blessings in the next. Our objective, pristine birthright, requires
Is this
the
just a
following:
roguelike,
30
but with
lovers,
extra
30
steps?
grudges, or 1,000,000 gold. Gold is out of question, so I went with 30 grudges instead. For reference, the worst thing you can do to someone is destroying their kung fu.
That 7-finger point
Beating
pressure
someone
move.
so hard they forget how to move creates a lot of animosity. At first, I was non-lethal and just battled people, stole their kung fu, and locked them in a cage. This got problematic very quickly. I would imprison someone's mother, so their daughter would show up and start breaking the cage from outside, trying to rescue them. So I had to knock her out, put her in another cage, only to see the mother try to break out from inside to rescue her daughter. Everyone started bonding over their shared predicament, became friends, and tried to make a prison break. Eventually, it was too much, so I had to start taking heads. All I wanted was 30 enemies, but it seems now
it's
I'm
not
going to
called
need 30
taking
body
heads.
bags. This
It's
was a
called,
problem because I couldn't keep track.
It's not called taking heads. It's called ethical population control. It's not their fault that they got captured, and then you have to moderate their existence, and then if they get too rambunctious, you've got to, like, you know, keep them in order and in line. If there's too many of them, you got to, like, keep lower the population in whatever means possible to make sure there's enough food to go around. But if they didn't want that to be the case, they shouldn't have gotten caught, obviously.
Of the people I killed and their relations to one another. I accidentally killed off someone's parent, only to find out
Game
their
looks so
daughter
goofy.
had 12k vigor and was chasing me across the land. I died several times and had to reload. The only way I was going to survive was by friendship and paying the master of my
but
sex
friendship is
1,000
magic,
gold
and
to beat the
magic
shit
is
out of her.
ew.
As I took her head, I realized, why do I even need this karma quest when I have a small army that can finish the entire game? There are no words to describe the experience of combat when your fights are
Dude,
stacked
literally
20
fighting a giant
against one,
frog.
Except incredibly fair. I thought I was
Actually, to be
invincible,
fair,
but I flew
if you
too
told me
close
this
to
was
the
a
sun.
game
You see,
called
slowly,
Boruto,
over
I would have
time,
totally
my army
believed you.
kept taking internal injuries, but their AI wouldn't let them go to a clinic for treatment, and I didn't pay attention. Suddenly, some of them died, which caused
Thank you
their
for those
friends
phones, by
to
the way.
blame me for their death, which forced me to fight them. But then, they died, and my other companions attacked me. My failure cascade was out of control, and I died at the hands of my own men. I thought I was...
Now, if any anime or any show that I've ever seen that's been based in old China has given me the understanding, it's that betrayal and surreptitiousness is kind of a part of the course. If you don't expect your team or your friends or your family or your loved ones or your pet dog to regicide your ass, then I don't know who to blame. I don't know who you can really blame other than yourself for not having that expectation, considering the standard of how these kind of things usually go. Just saying.
Was girl boss of this empire, but in truth, I was nothing but the boss baby. I looked back on the footage to figure out exactly where it all went wrong, and surprisingly, it wasn't inflicted injuries. No.
But
what
can they
happened
get
was
down to
I ate
business
shit to see what happens.
to
And
defeat
I saw the animation,
the
and I thought it was really
VTubers?
funny. However, my dysentery gave me a stack
no.
of poison gas, which spreads from close contact.
Oh, no.
My army was exclusively in close contact. So
Ew, stinky! Ew! Oh, that's just nasty.
the cause of death of everyone, and myself included, was my own excrement. But it turned out I made enough enemies.
Wait, the cause of your death was your own excrement? So, like, living in modern London. Huh. Interesting.
In this life that I finished my karma quest. Pristine Birthright gives you the single biggest power spike in the game, if you can actually use it. If I could figure it out, I'm sure you can too. In case you do this yourself, I found out I didn't actually need grudges, and I could have just marked 30 people as enemies. Turns out, force-feeding people shit, gouging out their eyes, and repeatedly breaking their legs was completely unnecessary, and says a lot more.
Nah, man, nah, it was a moral lesson. It was to make sure they got the point. Because you only have to tell them once, you know? You only need to break their leg once to get the message across. It's to instill the fear of your rule into them. I mean, they're never going to make the same mistake twice after you break their leg in 5 different places.
About myself. My unscrupulous actions would come to haunt me for my third character as I start with ill fate, which means I'm more likely to be struck by lightning. I try to cheese the system by praying for rain and speedrunning life. Unfortunately, lightning only cooks you, so I tried dying to bandits. They refused to kill me as well. Instead, they put me
cooking
in a cage
you?
and went to...
Dude, if I had the opportunity to get struck by lightning to cook me, I mean, with the cost of gas and heating in England, in this economy, that's a friggin' lifesaver. Like, free heating at this time of year, in this economy, I'd take that perk. Just you know, just a British moment. You know what I'm saying?
to sleep. Occasionally, they would wake up and
I mean,
poison
just
me before
just be
going back
resilient to
sleep.
lightning.
This also
Get all
failed
the
to kill me.
benefits, none of the
Frustrated,
pain.
I ran to the Forbidden Palace, which is this game's version of a government. This is staffed by people who are referred to as an
Furries?
incomplete person who are missing their precious treasure. This is a
Yeah, furries. But treasure is an allegory for dignity.
very
Sorry,
Chinese
furries.
way of saying they lost their penis. I could go on to explain how dynasties thought this would
Yeah, to be fair, furries.
prevent nobles and public officials from seizing power because they couldn't produce children. But I digress. Anyway, I set fire to the palace, and I was promptly executed, and it was all for nothing because my negative karma was still there. Also, I found out groin kick has a chance to permanently crush your balls. Do with this information as you will.
1
So
plus
I made
1
my
does
fourth
equal
and
2.
final character,
Just saying.
Supreme genetics, excellent karma. And you know what he does with it? Nothing, because I unlocked Beast Tongue and can now tame infinite monkeys. Now I have
Monkeys!
complete monopoly on the entire
Okay.
bag.
If there is a, you know, quantifiable amount of monkeys that is appropriate for taming, an infinite number of monkeys is the appropriate number. Just saying. Because you don't want 1 or 2 monkeys. You always want an infinite number of monkeys. And that's a dragon hunting flaw.
Translations can range from English to absolutely esoteric.
there
But the
we
gameplay
go.
is so
There's the
intuitive
slightly
that I never
racially
felt like I was missing out.
insensitive
There
Sseth
is
that we all
one
remember.
exception to this. It's called verbal duels. And they're completely insane. This is the equivalent of an online debate, where the objective is to mentally
What is this game? What is this game even, like, what category does this game come under? This feels like one of those really stupid-ass free-to-play mobile games that tries to put every kind of gameplay mode in their game so that when they make their shitty advertisements for it, they can be like, ah, yes, this is a first-person RPG, DVD, MMORP, first-person survival, milsim, roguelike, train surfer game. Yes!
break your opponent. Instead of vigor, you use spirit, and depleting someone's spirit will put them in hysteria, and hysteria can lead to death. This game lets you troll someone to death. It's
So
really
Twitter.
hard to say which single event in this sandbox
Is he
broke
riding
me.
a
Was it the
chicken?
time I went to the clinic for a broken leg, only for the doctor to forcibly throw me outside because it was 1 minute past his bedtime? Or was it my wife screaming at me for having an affair, as I have no option
Somehow, Seth's personal dialogue about his relationship status made it into this video.
to explain to her that I have no relation to this giant black serpent, and it only holds feelings of intimacy for me because I implanted it with a love parrot.
Somehow, Seth's dialogue to his black gay lover made it into this after he got thrown out by his wife.
Site. Since writing these lines, my world got flooded. I tried to swim north and got eaten by a great white shark. This
Yeah,
came
no,
out of
average,
nowhere,
average.
So it scared the shit out of me. This was the worst jump
That's a-
scare I've ever
that's a
had.
great,
I got
great white
crinkles
shark.
in my
Good lord.
diaper and was very afraid. So I'm giving this game a 0 out of 10. In all seriousness, if you're willing to put up with a lot of bad translation and want a sandbox where you can live out your power fantasy of killing everyone with your bare hands, then
Yeah.
I thoroughly recommend it. For the price they're asking, I definitely got my money's worth. It's
I mean, £12 for a game where you can live out as a Chinese dynasty warrior.
I haven't had the time to cover. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. This video
And now we're gonna have to wait another 3 months for a new Seth video. So get that timer going, guys. God, what the hell have I just watched? I'm not even sure if I want to upload this to YouTube as a react. Like, this might even be too sloppy for the slop channel. Like, my God, if this actually ends up on the slop channel, it might show just how desperate I've become for content. Well, if you've enjoyed it, like it, comment, all that kind of stuff. Go check out my other videos, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video, or drop by the Twitch channels to be part of it live. Bye-bye!